accidents don't happen again. That includes installing temporary seasonal fencing to discourage sledding, as well as annual inspections of the hill. And the health minister announced a new centralized surgical waitlist for Eastern Ontario for people to access surgery sooner than later. The centralized digital waitlist shows all patients who are waiting for surgery so they can be matched with the earliest time slot in an operating room somewhere in Eastern Ontario. The Queensway Carleton, the Montfort and the Cornwall Hospital are the only ones connected to the new digital waitlist. Ottawa fire crews responded to a residential fire in the Kinburn area Saturday afternoon. Crews say they got a 911 call about a basement fire on Donald B. Monroe Drive and were able to contain the fire. 2 people were displaced, but no one was injured. And there's some relief at the gas pumps for Ottawa drivers. Enpro says the price of the pumps will go down 6 cents on Sunday to an average of $1.46.9 a liter at most gas stations in the city. And let's take a look at some road closures for the weekend. Both the east and westbound Bronson off-ramps are closed for construction. Byron closed between Kirkwood and Churchill until mid-December, and Spark Street closed between Lyon and Bay for construction until mid-December. For more local news, anytime, follow up online at ottawa.citynews.ca.
This is City News. I'm Robin Crawford. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says the Freedom Convoy protests presented an entirely different type of crisis than the COVID-19 pandemic.
Trudeau testified yesterday at the public inquiry into the government's unprecedented use of the Emergencies Act to dispel the blockades in Ottawa and at several border crossings. He says the government considered using the legislation in the spring of 2020, but the exigency and urgency of the blockades was a much different situation.
And those compressed timelines made it a very different context from one type of invocation of the Emergencies Act to another.
As protests entered their 3rd week, Trudeau described the threat of serious violence as a key factor in his decision to invoke the Emergencies Act. Commissioner Paul Rouleau says he hopes it will help the public understand the federal response to the convoy protests. The commission heard from 75 witnesses, including Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, and tabled more than 7,000 documents. A final report is expected early next year. Mike Gazzola, City News.
As the BC government releases its latest fiscal update, reports show a surplus of $5 billion. Even with the extra funds, the government says they will be treading lightly. Retail strategist David Ian Gray believes Canadian consumers will also continue to exercise caution during the holiday season.
I don't think consumers, by and large in Canada, are going to want to buy as many items. And I think, as I said, they're going to be looking for the retailer to offer a good deal.
Not consuming for consumption's sake, he expects fewer Canadians than the usual 50% to take advantage of Black Friday deals this year.
I think there's going to be a lot of hunting for things that are needed or on the want list prioritized, and with consumers being pretty picky about waiting out the retailers to let them drop the price to something that they want to see.
In Victoria, Lisa Yuzda, City News.
Employment Minister Carla Qualtrough says the federal government is extending employment insurance sickness benefits to 26 weeks. That up from 15 weeks. Qualtrough making that announcement while visiting the Canadian Cancer Society's Regional Care Centre in Vancouver.
The reason we're here today is to specifically address an issue that organizations like the Canadian Cancer Society and many others, many families have been advocating for, which is the inadequacy of the current 15 weeks of EI sickness benefits.
Federally regulated private sector workers will get 27 weeks. Ottawa plans to spend $39.4 million to support Indigenous languages in the North. The funding will go to communities, organizations, and governments to reclaim, revitalize, maintain, and strengthen the languages in the territories. More than 70 Indigenous languages are spoken across the country, many of which are endangered. It's all being called a triple-demic: COVID-19, the flu, and RSV. RSV continue to push Canada's healthcare to its limits. City's Henna Seed spoke to parents in Calgary who share their opinions on the current situation and whether masks are needed.
Parents with sick kids, I think that we're all really taking a social responsibility right now and keeping our kids at home.
With this surge in sickness, the old debate around the mask mandate kicks in. Jacqueline Mitchell, a Calgary mother of 3 kids, believes we have overprotected our children.
I do think that they are better off not being masked, though, to keep their immune systems strong and to continue to give them that opportunity to gain immunity to viruses that will be out there.
In Calgary, Henna Said, City News.
Heavy rainfall triggered landslides early this morning on the southern Italian island of Ischia that collapsed buildings and left as many as 12 people missing. The mayor of Naples was quoted by the news agency ANSA as saying one body had been recovered on the island. He was speaking on the margins of a city event. There was earlier confusion over the death toll after Italian Vice Premier Matteo Salvini said in Milan that 8 had been confirmed dead. Interior Minister later said that no deaths have yet been confirmed, while 10 to 12 people are missing. World Cup host Qatar sits in a region that is warming faster than anywhere else on Earth besides the Arctic. The wealthy Gulf Arab nation has been able to pay for extreme adaptive measures so far, like outdoor air conditioning to mitigate the effects of rising temperatures in some areas. Qatar has inched forward in recent years with climate pledges, but the transition away from hydrocarbons will not be simple for one of the world's largest producers and exporters of natural gas. Back to North America, where authorities investigating the fatal shootings of 6 people at a Walmart last Tuesday say the shooter bought the gun just hours before and left a note on his phone listing grievances against co-workers. Details from reporter Elizabeth Schultze.
Chesapeake police confirming they used a 9mm handgun that was legally purchased from a local store the morning of the shooting. Authorities also say they found a box of ammunition and various items in reference to the handgun after searching Bing's home. Bing had worked at the Walmart since 2010. Fellow employees describing him as a loner who sometimes clashed with colleagues.
Police say the 31-year-old was found dead at the scene of the mass shooting of an apparently self-inflicted gunshot wound. A Carnival cruise ship passenger is alive and receiving medical treatment after going overboard and being rescued in the Gulf of Mexico. Coast Guard officials say the 28-year-old man was rescued on Thursday after relatives on board the ship reported him missing a day earlier after last seeing him at a bar on the ship. Lieutenant Seth Gross says a cargo ship later saw a person in the water about 32 kilometers south of Southwest Pass, Louisiana, and the mouth of the Mississippi River.
A testament to his will to live. You know, to be out in the middle of the ocean, treading water for upwards of 15 hours, is simply incredible.
He said they're calling this a Thanksgiving miracle. And American shoppers are expected to keep hunting for deals this weekend despite sky-high inflation and recession concerns. The 5-day Black Friday weekend includes Cyber Monday, where discounts are expected to go as high as 27%. ABC's Deirdre Bolton with more.
Data point worth pointing out from Adobe Analytics. Many of us are shopping from our mobile phones. In fact, if shopping from our mobile phones driving 55% of online sales so far.
The period between U.S. Thanksgiving and Christmas represents about 20% of the retail industry's annual sales. We'll take a break now. When we come back in 60 seconds, we'll check in with local news.
The News Watch never stops. This is City News everywhere.
On City News 101.1 FM and 1310 AM.
Not sure about your credit? Have a car loan you need paid out? Or maybe you want to lower your current interest rate. You need a new vehicle, but you don't know where to start. At the Car Club, you can get pre-approved regardless of your credit, at no cost and with no obligation before choosing your next vehicle. 3 locations in Ottawa, hundreds of quality vehicles, great deals, and amazing service. Get approved, get a deal, and get driving at thecarclub.ca.
This is Claire. Her cottage got a sudden reno when a branch went through the roof, but she's sleeping sound.
proudly because the team at Kirby & Masson Insurance has her back. Family owned and operated for over 100 years, Kirby & Masson Insurance is your local insurance broker office providing personalized service hard to find anywhere else. Enjoy the same peace of mind as Claire. Call Kirby & Masson Insurance, 739-7562. That's 739-7562.
You're listening to City News. I'm Perishko Gogolkista. A report from the city of Ottawa shows that the sledding hill in Mooney's Bay is no longer safe for sledding. This comes nearly a year after an 11-year-old died in a toboggan accident, which then led the city to conduct internal safety reviews. The report, which was released 1 month after the accident, shows that there is no area on the hill that is safe for sledding. Now, several recommendations were put forward to ensure similar accidents don't happen again. That includes installing temporary seasonal fencing to discourage sledding, as well as annual inspections of the hill. Ottawa Public Health is warning that wastewater virus detection levels of the flu are very high. In their latest update, OPH says that COVID-19, influenza, and other respiratory viruses continue to circulate in the community, but RSV seems to be moderate for now. OPH is also suggesting that residents wear a mask in indoor crowded spaces and stay up to date with vaccinations. This comes as CHIO says they're planning for the worst-case scenario in the coming weeks as the hospital continues to deal with an unprecedented number of kids visiting the emergency rooms. Now, to ease some of the surgical backlogs, the health minister has announced a new centralized surgical waitlist for Eastern Ontario. This is so people can get access to surgeries sooner than later. The centralized digital waitlist shows that all patients who are waiting for surgery so they can be matched with the earliest time slot in an operating room somewhere in Eastern Ontario. Now, so far, the Queensway Carleton, the Cornwall Hospital, and the Montfort are the only ones connected to the new waitlist, but the Ottawa Hospital and the Hawkesbury and District General will be up next. I'm Perishka Gogolkista. For more local news anytime, follow up online at ottawa.citynews.ca.
This is City News. I'm Robin Crawford. Qatari authorities say a fire has broken out at an under-construction building in a newly built city where a World Cup match is set to be played this evening. Officials say the blaze on an island that's part of the city of Lusail hasn't caused any injuries. The city is hosting several games during this tournament, including a match between Argentina and Mexico today. The fire sent thick black smoke into the sky, which was visible from a marketplace in central Doha as World Cup fans milled among its shops and restaurants. Coming up in 60 seconds, we'll take a look at our top stories and a check of sports. You're listening to City News.
Your news
From coast to coast.
This is City News everywhere.
On City News 101.1 FM and 1310 AM.
Did I pack extra smiles? Did I bring a sense of adventure? Did I forget my stress at home? When you book with a CAA travel consultant, there's less to worry about. Plus, CAA members get exclusive travel benefits on guided tours and cruises around the world. And save up to 20% on CAA travel insurance. Visit bookcaa.ca to plan your worry-free vacation with CAA Travel.
Hi, I'm Cherry Tabb, co-founder of the Herzig Eye Institute. I'm proud that Herzig is now the official laser eye center of the Ottawa Senators. Did you know that wanting to play their favorite sports better is the #1 reason people have their vision corrected? Let our team of world-class surgeons help you improve your golf, your tennis, and yes, your hockey. Google Herzig Eye Institute. Call us for a consultation. There's no charge. Look after yourself. Promise me.